Let's begin with an uncomfortable topic. If you don't have friends, there's a chance you're not the problem. You might just be operating on a frequency most people can't detect. And before you think this is some feel-good participation trophy nonsense, it's not. This is about the dark, rarely discussed psychology of why certain personality types end up isolated, even when they desperately crave connection. Because here's the thing, loneliness isn't always about being unlikable. Sometimes it's about being too perceptive, too honest, too mentally exhausting for a world that runs on comfortable lies. So if you've ever wondered why friendships feel like trying to speak a foreign language everyone else seems fluent in, buckle up, because what you're about to hear might sting, but it'll also make everything make sense.
Trait number 1, hypersocial perception, seeing through people. You see through people like glass. Most people without friends share one terrifying ability. They can detect at a molecular level. You don't just hear what people say, you hear what they mean. The fake laugh at an unfunny joke, the performative kindness that's really just social currency, the exaggerated story designed to impress. Psychologists call this hypersocial perception, and it's both a gift and a curse, because once you see the puppet strings, you can't unsee them. You stop playing along. You don't fake enthusiasm. You don't validate attention-seeking behavior. And in a world where most social interaction is theater, your refusal to clap makes you the villain. People don't avoid you because you're mean. They avoid you because you make them feel seen. And most people don't want to be seen. They want to be admired. There's a difference. So while everyone else is bonding over shared delusions, you're standing in the corner wondering why nobody wants to talk about anything real. Spoiler, they do. They're just terrified of it.
Trait number 2, hypervigilant self-monitoring. Overanalyzing everything. Your brain is a 24/7 social surveillance system. Here's where it gets darker. People without friends don't just overthink, they overanalyze every micro interaction like it's a crime scene. That pause before someone responded, you're replaying it for 3 days. That weird tone in their text, you've already written a dissertation on what it means. This is called hypervigilant self-monitoring, and it's exhausting, not just for you, but for everyone around you. Because when you're constantly scanning for threats, judgment, or rejection, you can't relax, and people feel that tension. It radiates off you like heat. You think you're being careful, strategic, protecting yourself, but what you're actually doing is building an invisible wall between you and everyone else. You're so busy analyzing the interaction, you forget to actually be in it. And here's the brutal part. People interpret your caution as coldness, your silence as arrogance, your distance as disinterest. So they stop trying. Not because you did anything wrong, but because connecting with you feels like work. Trait number 3, emotional self-reliance. Too independent for connection. You're emotionally self-sufficient, to a fault. Most friendships are built on a simple formula, mutual need. Someone vents, you listen. You struggle, they reassure. It's an emotional economy. But people without friends don't participate in that economy. They handle their problems alone, regulate their emotions internally, and never ask for help. Psychologists call this emotional self-reliance, and on paper, it sounds like strength, but in practice, it's isolation. Because human connection doesn't thrive on independence, it thrives on vulnerability. When you never open up, never show weakness, never let people feel needed, they subconsciously start to feel useless around you, and over time, they drift away. Not because they don't like you, but because there's no space for them to matter. You're not pushing people away, you're just so self-contained there's no door to knock on.
And the tragic irony? You probably do need people. You're just too proud, too scared, or too conditioned to show it. Trait number 4, low social conformity, refusing to fit in. This is the trait that really seals the deal, the one that explains why quiet respect from others never quite blossoms into actual friendship. It's low social conformity. You don't just dislike trends, you're almost allergic to them. You don't mimic group behavior just to get along. You will not laugh at a joke you don't find funny. You will not nod along to an opinion you find hollow just to keep the social peace. You have to understand, the entire architecture of belonging is built on sameness. It's a social shortcut, a survival mechanism. And in that world, your refusal to conform makes you an outsider by definition. People don't bond over fierce individualism, they bond over shared identity. The same music taste, the same inside jokes, the same memes, even the same outrage. That shared frequency is the glue. But you're on a different wavelength entirely. You question everything. You think independently. You refuse to perform enthusiasm for things that genuinely bore you. People notice. It earns you a kind of silent, begrudging respect. They see you as authentic, as honest, but that respect is earned from a distance. It doesn't earn you closeness. When everyone else is laughing, you're analyzing the structure of the joke. When everyone's in furious agreement, you're asking the uncomfortable question, why? And when the crowd moves in one direction, you step back to observe the flow. That distance keeps your perspective pure, it keeps you honest, but it's also a fortress, and it keeps you alone. Trait number 5, alexithymia, caring without showing it. You care, but you can't show it. This is the hardest truth of all. Some people struggle with friendship because they don't emotionally reciprocate in the way the world expects. Their mind understands logic, but not warmth. They're brilliant at solving problems, but lost when it comes to sharing feelings. In psychology, there's a term for this, alexithymia. It's a difficulty in identifying or expressing your own emotions. It's not that the feelings aren't there, they are. You care deeply, but you show it through action, not words, through unwavering reliability, not spontaneous affection. You're the person who will show up at 3 a.m. to fix a flat tire, no questions asked. And while that's noble, profoundly noble, it's not what most people need to feel connected. People don't just want to be helped, they want to be felt. They want emotional resonance, not just practical support. They want to know that their joy is your joy, their pain is your pain. When they receive solutions instead of sympathy, they quietly drift away, confused, wondering how someone so dependable can feel so distant. You're not emotionally broken, you just process feelings internally and privately, and by the time you're ready to express them, the moment is gone. The window for connection has already closed. The truth about being alone. Most people who find themselves without friends didn't lose them in some dramatic movie-like fallout. They lost them gradually, almost invisibly, through 1,000 tiny, unintentional paper cuts. Not texting back fast enough because you were crafting the perfect reply, not showing enough emotion at a birthday party, not pretending to love the same things everyone else did. They became too self-aware, too detached, too precise for a social world that runs on emotional noise and comfortable, necessary lies. But here's the most important thing nobody tells you. Not having a wide circle of friends doesn't mean you're broken. It means your brain is running a different operating system, one that values truth over belonging, depth over distraction. And a mind like that is rare, dangerously rare in a world that rewards conformity. You can't fake connection. You can't dilute who you are just to fit in, and that's why you stand alone. Not because no one understands you, but because very few can match your frequency. You don't need to change who you are. You need to understand how your mind works. Because once you do, you'll stop asking, "Why don't I have friends?" And you'll realize the real answer. Not everyone is built to handle me, and maybe that's okay.